we will call the April 26th meeting of the Parker Planning Commission to order at 7:01. Would you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. Absent is Dwayne. Seated for Dwayne is Ruth Ann. Eric is seated in the vacant position, and absent is Ileana, and seated is Kim for Ileana. Are there any additions to or deletions from the agenda?
No, sir, there are not.
Okay. The minutes, are there any additions to or corrections to the minutes from the April 12th, 2018 meeting?
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the April 12th, 2018 minutes.
Second?
It's been moved by John, seconded by Kim, that we approve the minutes from the April 12th meeting. Signify your approval by yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item number 7A. Item 7A is a public hearing on the zoning of the Harvey property, which was continued from our April 12th meeting. We will open the public hearing at 7:02. Mary?
Thank you, and good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Again, this is the public hearing for the Harvey property zoning. The applicant for this project is the Town of Parker, and representing the town is Dennis Trapp, Project Administrator with the Parks and Rec Department. And you already waved. The Harvey property is located north of the intersection of Main Street and Canterbury Parkway on the east side of Parker. This scenic 71.45 acre parcel was acquired by the town from Douglas County in December of 2016 and is currently undeveloped and zoned open space conservation in the county. The property has a conservation easement on it, which is held by the Douglas Land Conservancy, and that will remain with the land. The town is concurrently annexing the property along with this zoning request. The town intends to zone the property open space and provide future open space access with limited passive recreational amenities such as small parking area, soft surface trails, informal trailside seating. No site plan has been submitted to date yet, but that will be processed in accordance with the land development ordinance when we do receive it, and you will see that project. Also, the applicant has completed the inclusion process into the Parker Water and Sanitation District. The Parker 2035 Master Plan identifies the Harvey property as being located within the low-density residential character area, which recommends an overall gross density of 2.2 dwelling units per acre. Supportive and ancillary uses such as parks and open space like the Harvey property are appropriate uses in all residential character areas. The Harvey property is also located within the town's urban growth boundary. There are 9 zoning criteria, and staff's report has provided a detailed analysis of all 9 criteria. A couple that I want to point out are criteria number 1, a need exists for the proposal. The proposed zoning of the Harvey property for future development of open space and passive recreation facilities is again supportive to residential uses and an important amenity for our residents. The preservation of this parcel constitutes an important physical, environmental, social, aesthetic, and economic asset to the residents of the town. And secondly, criteria number 2, the particular parcel of ground is indeed the correct site for the proposed development. So the proposed open space and limited park uses will be planned to respect the unique terrain of the Harvey property and will be appropriate within the site's natural state. With that, staff has determined the proposed zoning and future development against the nine zoning criteria and has determined that the Harvey property zoning meets the 9 criteria. Staff has concluded that the Harvey property proposed zoning to open space is consistent with the master plan, meets the vision and goals of the open space, trails, and greenways master plan. Also, all public notice requirements have been met. The proposed zoning satisfies the 9 approval criteria for zoning, and this proposed zoning supports Parker's balanced growth of development and open lands. With that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend that the Town Council approve the Harvey property zoning. And that concludes staff's presentation, and we are happy to answer any questions, Dennis and myself.
Questions for Mary or Dennis?
Mary, will there be any maintenance required on this by the town, or will it be just left in a complete natural state except for parking?
Yes.
I just stole her microphone.
Thanks, Dennis. I'll say, all right, Dennis, I'll ask you.
Okay, fine. Dennis Trapp with the Parks and Rec Department here with the town. Yes, there will be minimal maintenance. We actually had our Parks Division run some cost. It's pretty minimal. It's going in, maintaining the trail, the gravel parking lot, replacing anything that may be damaged in some of the shelter areas, shade shelter areas, doing any landscaping, upkeep on the site. The cost that we estimate in today's dollars is around $15,000 a year. So it's not enormous, but there is a little cost of maintenance that'll be ongoing.
In the future, if there's any trees that die, are they going to be replaced?
Actually, what we would do is the conservation easements actually allows us to go in and do tree and vegetation management. But we would probably coordinate with Douglas Land Conservancy because they hold the conservation easement. So if we start removing trees that are, I'll say, indigenous to the site, I want to make sure that they are aware of those. And we would, in essence, abide by their recommendations if they want us to go in and plant replacement trees. And that would be just kind of an ongoing thing as it happens.
Okay.
What sort of improvements? You mentioned a gravel parking lot. Would you be adding restrooms? And what exactly is a informal bench?
Yeah, the conservation easement, which was put in place by Mr. Harvey in 1996, is pretty specific. And as Mary mentioned, it's held by Douglas Land Conservancy. So we've been working with them consistently over the last year and a half. The kinds of improvements would be soft surface trails, and those could be, basically gravel or crusher fines trails. Picnic shelters, and the picnic shelters need to be of a natural kind of construction, wood or those kinds of things, earth tones. The maximum occupancy for any of the picnic shelters on site, total on site, is 25 people. The parking lot is again a gravel soft surface parking lot, and that's stipulated in the conservation easement. Maximum amount of cars is 20. The conservation easement also allows one restroom, so more than likely we will do a vault restroom. That way we save a little money not having to hook up to Parker Water and all of the utility costs related to that. And it makes sense with this particular property, just given the nature of the open space area. We've done several vault restrooms in the past, one at Railbender Skate Park and then one at our new disc golf dog park that opened last year. In addition, the conservation easement does allow signage, interpretive, historic signage on the site. And we're going to obviously have some educational, interpretive signage because the site does have some history. And we are actually in the process now of searching down a lot of that history. And there are some folks that live in town, actually one of my neighbors, that his relatives used to live on the property. Mr. Harvey, before he died, also instructed that the property would be known as Ray J. Harvey Park. That's actually in the deed as part of the life estate that he set up in 1996. So that will be the, I'll say, the project or park ID sign that we originally, the one that we will have designed for the site that will go someplace along the frontage along Main Street.
Will pets be leashed and allowed on a leash in the park? Will be a no pet?
That is a town ordinance requirement, yes.
But I mean, will you be allowing pets in the park?
Yeah, dogs would be allowed, but they'd have to be on a leash because that's what our code says.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to make it clear to myself. The town acquired the property in 2016.
Correct.
So this is strictly a zoning because the town acquired the property. This isn't a rezone. It's all in conservation. It's all in open space kind of thing. It's not a rezone. It's basically an in-zone.
It is, concurrently, we're annexing the property, so by state law, we are required to zone the property once we annex it.
Okay.
Further questions? Okay. As this is a public hearing, we will open the discussion to public comment. If any members of the public wish to make a comment on this particular item, they should step forward to the podium and state their name and address for the record. Seeing none, we will close the public comment. We need further information from Mary or Dennis?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. We will close the public hearing at 7:13. Commissioner discussion.
I'm very pleased that the town is adding this much park space into the entire system for use of our residents. Also, it does meet the 9 criteria well set. It's going to be a great facility, and I'm going to support the zoning.
Yes, I think it meets the 9 criteria, and I'm glad to see that the town will keep it as open space and not try to do anything different with it, because I think the community needs that open space right now, so I'm in favor of it.
I also support the zoning. I am delighted that this space is coming in. I recently had the opportunity to drive past it on my way somewhere else, and I was really quite taken with what a beautiful piece of land it is, and that's we're going to keep it open is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I support it.
I agree. I live very near this piece of property, and it's a beautiful piece of land, so it sounds like a great idea to let others enjoy it.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey.
I appreciate the efforts of the town staff and the people in Douglas County and making this happen and getting us this nice piece of open space, so I'm in support of it as well. Do we have a motion?
I move the Planning Commission recommend Town Council approve the Harris property zoning.
I'll second.
It's been moved by John, seconded by Rich, that the Planning Commission recommend Town Council approve the Harris properties. Harvey property zoning. All those in favor signify by yes.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to 7B, we'll kind of wait for, yeah. We'll give them a minute to get resituated.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we will, item 7B is a public hearing on item Z17-025, the 20-mile Village Center filing to Amendment 9, use by special review. We will open the public hearing at 7:15. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Planning Commission. As was just stated, the second case before you this evening is case Z17-025. It's a request for a use by special review for a hotel use as part of a mixed-use building. Subject property of this request is bound by Stage Run. The AMC Theater is located to the north. There is a dental office to the northeast, a mixed-use commercial building including restaurants to the east as well, a bank and undeveloped property to the south. South of those sites is Main Street. To the southwest of the subject property is the Culver's Restaurant, and then west of the property is multi-tenant mixed-use commercial building surrounding the subject property. Within the town's master plan, the site is designated for essential commercial uses. And then as part of the property history, the site is currently zoned Greater Downtown District within the 20-mile center. Within that zoning, lodging establishments are required to receive approval for a use by special review, which is what brings us here this evening. In total, the site is about 4.4 acres in size. Just some additional detail on the master plan for this area. The image on the left is an image of the master land use plan. The master land use plan is a plan that has land use designations for every property within the town. And as was previously referenced, this particular parcel is called out for central commercial uses, which is intended to be kind of the commercial hub of the town, if you will. The image on the right shows the Main Street Master Plan land use designation. The Main Street Master Plan is a sub-plan of the town's master plan. Because the master plan is town-wide, it is more general in nature. The Main Street Master Plan provides additional finer grain detail, if you will, related to the study area in and around Main Street. Within that master plan, the site is called out for mixed uses, as well as a plaza or park or public amenity feature in the center of the site. Planning Commission has seen this slide a few times, but the request this evening is for a use by special review. Use by special review is generally one of three categories a use can fall into. The first type is a use by right. Those are uses that are generally consistent with the intent of the underlying zone district. For example, restaurants and commercial are generally a use by right. The second type is a use by special review, which again is the request before Planning Commission this evening. Those are uses that may present some external impacts above those that are anticipated by the underlying zone district and require a little additional scrutiny. An example would be a hotel in a area zoned commercial. And then third category of uses are those uses that are prohibited, generally uses that are inconsistent with the intent of the underlying zone district, industrial uses in residential zone districts, things of that nature. Again, a use by special review is a discretionary action for Planning Commission based on the applicant's ability to meet the 9 approval criteria that are detailed in staff's report. Generally speaking, development details are not reviewed and or approved as part of the use by special review. That is done through the site plan process, generally administratively. It is not inconsistent for a use by special review to have recommended conditions attached to them as well. For context, this is the site plan that is under review at this time. Again, Stage Run bounds the subject property. North would be on the top end of the image here. The information on the right-hand side of the image shows the proposed development. The image, the left side of the image is still under review as part of the site plan. It is very likely that the west side of the property will need to accommodate some parking in order to meet the requirements for the site plan, but those details are still under review via the site plan. The mixed-use building is the building located in the southeast corner of the lot. There's 2 points of access off of Stage Run with associated parking. Additionally, as part of the project, should it receive approval, there is a proposed plaza, pedestrian amenity space directly west of the hotel that would be constructed concurrent with the mixed-use building, including the hotel use. This is a 3D image of the building and the architecture. This would be looking north as you turn in off of Main Street. So the elevation you're looking at would be the southwest corner of the building, and the plaza space located to the left of that. The proposed building is 4 stories in height. The first floor would be a mix of commercial uses that would likely not be associated with the hotel. The second through 4th floor would be where the guest rooms would be located, with a bar, a smoking lounge, and outdoor patio spaces. And then again, the plaza shown would be constructed concurrent with the project. With a use by special review, there are also 9 criteria for approval. Those are listed on the screen before you. Staff won't go through each of these individually. They have been detailed in your report for this evening. However, staff would like to highlight 3 of the approval criteria. The first is that the request is in harmony and compatible with the character of the area. This is within a commercial center. There are commercial uses located directly adjacent to the subject property, and this area is intended to be commercial as referenced in the town's master plan and the Main Street master plan. The second criteria that the request is consistent with the town master plan, as was represented on the previous slide. The request is commercial mixed use in nature, which is consistent with both of the master plan and the Main Street master plan. And then the other criteria to highlight was that no undue traffic or congestion or hazards would be present. As part of the site plan for the request, the applicant has provided a traffic impact statement that has been reviewed and evaluated by the town's engineering division. And the engineering division determined that this request would not create undue traffic beyond that which was anticipated at the time the site was contemplated for development. Upon sending the application out for referral, all referral agencies have responded with either no comment or advisory comments. To date, staff has not been contacted by anyone either in support or in opposition to the request. With that, staff would recommend that Planning Commission recommend Town Council approve, subject to the 2 conditions, the requested use by special review for a hotel use within a mixed-use building at the subject property, and the 2 conditions are summarized on the slide before you. And that would conclude staff's presentation. However, we are available for any questions Planning Commission may have.
Questions for staff?
Paul, I have 2 quick questions. Smoking lounge, outside? Inside?
My understanding is it's a combination. There's an inside component and a patio component.
Okay, and how many parking spaces are
inside?
there presently?
Oh. Breaking news, Mr. Commissioner. No smoking lounge as part of the development.
Thank you. Parking spaces, how many?
In total, there are 100, give or take, 115, 120.
Is the property contiguous from each entrance? Or do you have to, is the hotel kind of a separate entrance and then the commercial more to the west?
The access onto the subject property?
Well, there's 2.
Correct.
So internally in the property, is it contiguous, or do you have to leave from the hotel to go over to the commercial?
So the commercial component will be within the same building as the hotel. So the entire first floor of the building will be commercial uses. So you theoretically could park and experience the same amenities for the commercial and the, that's not your question?
No, I'm sorry, the stuff on the west?
Yes.
Future development?
Yes.
Is that contiguous within this lot? Am I missing
Is that
something?
the same lot?
Yes, it's all, that, as part of the application, sorry if I misunderstood your question, yes. As part of the application, the applicant has submitted a consolidation plat in order to turn this entire lot into one lot.
Okay, and you can get from the hotel to the future development and
Yes.
vice versa?
Yes, that is the whole intent of the plaza, is to have that be shared space where you could experience all of those amenities with one stop.
And I'm assuming we're gonna hear from the applicant more about kind of the hotel specifics?
Yes, ma'am, they have a short presentation for you as well.
I think I'll wait till I hear that.
Do you know if the the bank will allow parking in their lot for the after-hours use by the restaurants?
It's staff's understanding that the hotel operator has had some conversations with the bank related to parking, but I'll let the applicant address where those conversations currently stand.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Further questions for staff?
Not yet.
Nope.
Okay, then will the applicant step forward to the podium, please, and state your name and address for the record?
My name is Peggy Friesen. Good evening. Better?
Got it.
Thank you. My name is Peggy Friesen. I'm with Engineering Service Company, 14190 East Evans Avenue, Aurora, Colorado, 80014. Thank you for the privilege to come tonight, Chairman Poole and Commissioners. We're excited to bring this use by special review project to you tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank staff, thank Paul in particular for all of the hard work through this process with us, also Bryce and Jason and John Fusa. Everyone has worked with us along the way to come up with what we all believe is an exciting project. And tonight we're here to ask your approval for the use by special review, as Paul has said, as required for the lodging establishment, as it's set in your code, within the Greater Downtown District 20-mile center. So we do have our staff here tonight. Linda Hill from Hill Avium is here, and she will speak in a minute. And then also we have the owner, Parker Main Street Partners, as well as the developer, Mars Development, for questions if needed. We'd like to go ahead and start by a vicinity map, just to kind of have a high-level overview. As you all know, this is an infill site. There's good access from existing thoroughfares. I wanted to zoom out for you to see that it's located in such a way that it's easy to get in and out to the facility. There's improved infrastructure, as Paul alluded to in his presentation, with sufficient capacity for the project. We have adequate town services, and we're within walking distance of the highest concentration of multifamily all around us, and we're also in proximity to the trail. So this overview kind of shows all those pieces. Next, we'll zoom in a little bit, and as Paul said, it's a 4.4 acre site, and it's an infill site, one of the few in this particular area. And wanted you to see this view because it shows the multifamily units that are surrounding the site. We have about 1,400 units within walking distance of this site, and that's why we have a concentration on the plaza, the walkability of the site, and we're very excited about pulling in residents on all sides, really, to the site without having to use cars. So this is one of the pluses we feel. As you see, the Grove, we're calling the project the Grove. It's in the middle of a stage run loop, and that is a private road. The 20-mile road is the public road on the west side, Dransfield on the east, Main Street, of course, on the south. So I think that's all I want to tell you about that. If we go to the next, and again, I'm sorry for the redundancy. Paul's already gone over a lot of this. Excuse me. So we comply with the master plan, the project, and you can see by the enlargement that we are part of the Central Commercial Retail Land Use Designation, which is intended to ensure a variety of commercial services, including lodging, and that encourages also vertical mixed-use building, which we are. It also meets the master plan goals and strategies, and this is a summary of those goals and strategies that are outlined in the staff report. Provides opportunity for expanded economic base. It creates a sense of neighborhood community among those who walk, live, and play. It's surrounded by the highest concentration of apartment uses in Parker. The need for mixed-use retail and restaurants is already present. It nurtures and supports existing businesses by expanding commercial activity, also expands the variety and also the diversity of the business types. We'll get into that a little bit later. Introduces the mixed-use services that encourage unique and local flavor. That's what we're after, not national franchise business. And then the plaza and the first floor shops encourage pedestrian environment. In addition to that, we're in compliance with the Greater Downtown District 20-mile center, And I think we can move on from that because you've already covered all this. And then also, in addition to that, the 2015 Parker Main Street Master Plan. We really like the quote, "Main Street's the heart and soul of Parker community, reflecting its character, culture, and heritage. We're excited to be the west end and kind of the gateway from the west side with this project." So again, you can see we're located at the northwest corner and really the entry from the west side. In addition, the Main Street Master Plan had a Main Street vision, and we knew the linkage was important from Old Town on the east to the west, and we feel that we've provided an anchor for the west side now to bring prosperity and some interest to the west. Again, Paul kind of went over this. This is the land use corridor vision, and this is kind of a broader picture to show you the mixed use is the kind of pinkish fuchsia color. And again, we're on the west side. And it was really ironic that the owners, had a vision for this property. And when we got into it and we're talking about it and we pulled up your master plan, it was surprising to see that you already had a plaza there. And that was also their vision before we even knew it was in your plan. So we thought it was an exciting thing to come together. And you can see that we are using that and bringing in a plaza. This is just views of what's out there today. This is looking across the site, view to the northeast, which is the apartments in the background, and then the theater and the mixed use or multi-tenant retail on the right. The view to the west is the two-story multi-use, mixed-use office commercial. Looking to the east is again your retail. It kind of pans over and you can see the bank as well as the Waterford Apartments, and then south is the Waterford Apartments across the vacant lot. The project context, what we did was we kind of dropped in our colored site plan so you can see what it would look like in the center of this property. Again, stage run to the north, all of our access is off Private Drive. And that really shows the context, again, in proximity, but how it would fit in the loop. The next is kind of an enlargement. It's easier to read than the site plan that Paul showed a minute ago. And this kind of features the plaza. Of course, the building's down in the northeast corner of the site and placed there with the access. I think this might make it clear to the commissioner who was asking about the connections, and we can answer questions on that. But this shows the plaza was intended in the vision of the master plan to connect all the way from Main Street to the theater and the entertainment center and draw pedestrians in, and that's what we're intending to do. I'd like to introduce Linda Hill from Hill Avium. She's going to talk a bit about the building.
Thank you, Peggy. Oh, I'm shorter than she is. There we go. Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. Now I get to talk about the fun stuff.
Could you give your name and address for the record, please?
Sure, I'm sorry. Linda Hill, and I'm with Hill Avium, which the address is 34215 Highway 6, Edwards, Colorado.
Thank you.
Okay. So as we look at bringing this in from the site plans, the working name Grove on Main Street, we know meets the criteria for both the Parker Master Plan and then the Main Street Plan. What I'd like to discuss is the actual physicality and what the look and feel of this development will be. The goal is to obviously have it be in harmony with the character of the surrounding area. We've talked about that a little bit. As Peggy mentioned and Paul mentioned, those 1,400 units that are there, we're trying to create a lively area that will draw those people in. The main plaza is where we expect the community to engage and come alive. We anticipate dining, festivals. It will create a gathering place for people to kind of hang out. We're also looking at a variety of vendors within the development that will contribute to an alluring sense of place. People will come here to gather, browse, and stay a while. And then if that mix might include some craft brewers, it'll include restaurants and neighborhood boutique operators, which I'll get into in just a little bit. The retail experience we're hoping will inspire visitors to explore more and find something new with every visit that they come into this area for. The pedestrian-friendly ambiance is key to this. The walkability, the ability for the restaurants to open up onto the plaza, the retail shops to open onto the plaza, and then the lodge itself to open onto the plaza. You can go to the next slide, Paul, if you don't mind. So this is a rendering only at this point, but I think it was Kimberly that asked about the hotel. I don't know if it was you.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So this hotel is what we call a boutique hotel, and I'm going to go ahead and describe what boutique means. In its own right, it's a smaller, themed type property. It does not fly a Holiday Inn flag, it doesn't fly a Marriott flag, or those kinds of franchises. And there's a very clear reason on why we want to do this. We want to make it unique to Parker. There's a number of hotels in Parker that do fly those franchise flags. We think they're great, but we also think that Parker is a unique destination unto itself and a unique locale, and we'd like to see that embodied with the 51-room hotel. What you see on the right there is essentially the vintage pre-World War II ambiance that will be part of the interior design decor. And then you're looking at a preferred hotels and resorts designation. Not every hotel in the world can get this designation, but this hotel will have it. Some of those other preferred hotel affiliations include the St. Julian in Boulder, which some of you may have heard of. The Broadmoor, obviously, we've all heard of. Some of us have had the opportunity to actually stay there, which is great. The Art Hotel, which is a new hotel in Denver, and if you can go to the next slide, is another one. And then, you know, I like to look beyond just the preferred hotels in Colorado. La Fonda in Santa Fe, some of you may have heard of, and then the Sundance in Utah, as well as the Lodge at Pebble Beach. And that's really just to give a framework for what it means to be this preferred hotel. Customer service will be exemplary. This slide shows what the materials would be on the exterior of the hotel. The previous slide showed that pre-World War II interior design ambiance. When we start looking at the hotel itself, it will also have 3 restaurants and an outdoor deck. That outdoor deck, we're looking forward to hosting events at. The events could be a wedding. There's a lot of Parker ladies that sometimes have to leave Parker for a wedding. But this event venue will hopefully keep those Parker ladies right here in Parker. And then the restaurants themselves will be distinctly different, and they're going to complement the surrounding businesses that might be in the retail space on the first floor. We're looking forward to this having a positive impact on the economic vitality of Parker. And I'm going to go ahead, if you can go on to the next one, Paul. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Peggy right after this slide. We did some community outreach that we wanted to make you guys aware of. And when we look at the community input, we did 2 key sessions. One was with the businesses in the area. About 30 different businesses participated. They were coming in, they saw what the plans were. Both Mike and Mitch were there answering questions, and in general, it was very positive. And then we reached out to and provided invitations to the various apartment dwellers in the area, and that included Waterford on Main Street, Briargate on Main, and then Trailside Apartments. And we were soliciting input across the board to kind of see what the support for this effort would be. Positive feedback in both sessions, which was great. What you see on the right is essentially just the invitation that went out to the various businesses. Thank you, Paul. And I'm going to turn it right back over to Peggy.
Thank you, Linda. So we wanted to, again, go over briefly how we meet and exceed, or the fact that we do. You've seen that demonstrated in the previous slides as well as in this very detailed staff report. We feel that we're in harmony and compatible with the character of the surrounding area and the neighborhoods. We're consistent with the town master plan, the comprehensive plan that calls for the commercial center. We will not result in over-intensive use of land. We won't require a level of community facilities or services greater than what's currently available. We won't result in undue traffic congestion or traffic hazards. We will not cause significant air, water, noise pollution, or we will be adequately landscape buffered and screened. And we will not be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the present or future town inhabitants. And in closing, we'd like to summarize the project support we have to date. This is a great opportunity, we believe, to develop an infill site within the 20-mile center and within the vision of the 20-mile center. The project is supported by economic development, by the neighborhood commercial businesses, and we do have a letter that will enter into the record, a support letter from Shelley Mango that we'd like to actually, can I give that to you, Paul? Enter. And it's fully supported by town staff for the use by special review. We've worked diligently, as we said, with the town staff to ensure that it does meet the vision of the 20-mile. We're excited that the owners and the developer's vision was the same as what the town had, which is not always the case. The use is consistent with the 2035 master plan, and it fits the vision and the plans for developing the West Main Street corridor. We feel that we're going to be a great anchor to that west side and bring vitality into it as you envisioned in your 2015 master plan. We're looking forward to a successful project. Hopefully we can get through the remaining process and go to permitting quickly so we can get under construction. Thank you again for the time tonight to present the project. We do ask for your support for the use by special review for the lodging portion of this project, and we're open for questions.
Questions for the applicant?
No.
Do you have any idea on how long before the future development site will go in after you start your facility?
We don't have a definite timeline at this point. We have been discussing it throughout the whole process, and there are different ideas. We're working on it, and we don't have just a definite timeline, though.
Would you be the developer on that piece, or would you farm that out?
At this point, we would be the developer.
Other question?
How many units again is this hotel?
51.
51? Yes.
Other question?
On one of the pictures, it looked like there was a wall. Is this going to be pretty open so that folks can walk in, drive in? On one of the
Paul,
slides.
do you want to go back to that colored?
Sure.
Site
Was
plan?
that part of the applicant's presentation or
Yes.
staff? Okay.
Kind of
Right
walk.
here.
I can kind of walk you through.
Oh, I think she,
Um,
go back.
So on the bottom picture,
This one here.
yeah, it looks like there's a wall. There was another one that depicted it just a little bit better on the right-hand side. Yeah, right there. And maybe it's just the slide. So-
I can
Oh, over
walk
here?
you through.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I won't speak for the applicant, but it's intended to show the potential future footprint of a future building. It's not a wall. It's just as part of the graphic, they added in what
Okay.
might be the future building.
Okay, I was like, is
That's
this a
correct.
walled city?
No, no, it's not a wall, and that would complete the fact that the pedestrian plaza is created to have everything just right up to the plaza, so that it can be the open. It'll be open and it'll be accessible to the first floor retail shops, restaurants, that sort of thing, to engage activity of the pedestrian and the patrons.
Are any of the other surrounding buildings 4 stories, or will this be the only 4-story building in that
We don't-
particular area?
We don't have plans yet on those. They're still developing. We envision that they would be multi-story. We don't know what it would be at this point.
Okay, and the current buildings that are there are 3-story, aren't they? That are multi-story?
The multi-story commercial building to the west, I believe, is the tallest building, and I believe that's 2 stories.
Is that 2? Okay.
I think
There'll be a
so.
nice view from the rooms then.
When the current development comes in, do you foresee kind of access from the shops from both sides?
Yes, absolutely.
That's great.
Further questions for the applicant?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have further questions for staff at this time?
No.
Nope.
As this is a public hearing, we will open the discussion to public comment. If you have a comment about this particular matter, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Dennis Houston, Parker Area Chamber of Commerce, 19590 East Main Street, Parker, Colorado. I actually came here to protest the smoking lounge, but I guess that's been taken care of. I'd just like to read a statement of support on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, if I could. Mr. Chair and fellow Planning Commission members, as CEO of the Parker Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center, I come before you tonight on behalf of our 600 Parker area business partners, their 18,000 employees, jobs, and constituents they represent. I ask for your full support of the boutique hotel and shops. Many families move here because Parker has an amazing hometown feel that reminds them of where they grew up. Parker has an incredible sense of place, and our downtown area plays a major role in that. It's the downtown area, community's vision, and Parker people that signals to people that Parker just feels right. Parker, the Parker Boutique Hotel and Shops would give current and new residents that same feeling in the future. At the Chamber of Commerce, we have 4 areas of focus. How do we make a positive impact on the community, create a strong local economy, give members a competitive edge, and be an advocate for business and community? We believe that the boutique hotel and shops addresses all of these areas to improve our community of Parker. We also are involved with several signature events in the community that we feel could tie in with this project. Things such as Parker Days Festival, the wine walk event that takes place in the fall, movies in the park, and even our holiday sip and shop that takes place. No organization cares more about improving how we live, work, play, and grow in Parker more than the Chamber. Our signature events are designed to maintain that hometown charm. We feel that the hotel and shops will quickly become a signature landmark for Parker and will add to that very hometown charm that the Chamber works so hard to cultivate with our local festivals and events. We also feel that this creates some transformational change for Parker. As the official visitor center for Parker, our Chamber of Commerce team strongly believes that the hotel and shops will create transformational change to positively impact Parker for generations to come. This incredible project will soon become a Parker landmark, will serve as a connector to bring East and West Main Street together as one, which is something we've been striving for quite some time. Our goal at the Chamber and Visitor Center is to create a 3 to 4 hour stroll district in the downtown area on both the east and west side of Parker Road, where people can get out of their cars, grab a meal at a local restaurant, perhaps walk down the street for a great dessert, check out the great shops and boutiques, and maybe even end up at a local pub at the end of the evening. It can truly be an unbelievable experience for residents and visitors alike. We feel that the hotel and shops will become a new community gathering place where big things happen in our community. Most of our neighboring communities are not fortunate enough to have a vibrant downtown district like we do in Parker. Excuse me. The hotel and shops will help create that walkable downtown feel that continues to be the heart of our community. Mike May is also one of our own here in the Parker area. He has an incredible track record of success in making Parker a better place to live, work, play, and grow. Mars Hospitality is a successful Parker-based business that to many people is a hidden gem that they're not aware of. Mars Hospitality has created great hotel and restaurant projects throughout the country. They were the original developer of Parker's existing hotels near Parker's northern gateway to our community, and it only stands to reason that they would create that gateway on the western edge of our downtown community. They stand before us tonight to bring one of those transformational projects to Parker once again. Mike and his team at Mars Hospitality have a passion for Parker. Mike has the best interests of Parker in mind with this amazing hotel property that will be locally owned. The community needs this boutique hotel and shops. Parker has a strong need for additional hotel rooms. Parker has a strong need for additional meeting room space. Parker has a strong need for more retail shops in the downtown area as part of the downtown master plan. Parker has a strong need for more community gathering places, and we feel that the hotel and shops will fill each one of those needs. It will also create positive change and smart growth for the good of Parker. Most of us who now call Parker home are from somewhere else. There are very few Parker natives. As a matter of fact, 99.5% of Parker residents are transplants who moved here to our great community from other parts of the country. And even that is a conservative number that assumes that every one of the 250 people who lived in Parker in the early 1980s, when we were incorporated, were already Parker natives. Each one of us were new to Parker in recent years. The very nature of what makes Parker great is that we welcome new neighbors to our community and we welcome transformational projects to Parker. In closing, we're in full support of Parker, the new Parker Hotel and Shops, and it will be an inspiration by local, long-term Parker people who are working to positively impact our community. I stand before you tonight asking for your full support of the Hotel and Shops. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to just hand you a copy for the record, too.
Give it to Paul.
Thanks.
Seeing no further comment, we will close the public comment portion of the meeting. Do we need further information from the staff or applicant?
No.
No. No.
Nope.
Right, then we will close the public hearing at 7:51. Planning Commission discussion.
You know, this is going to be a nice western gateway for the town. As Dennis just mentioned, it'll be a nice tie-in for both our Main Street downtown area and the other side. Lots of folks can use it. I think it'll be a great project, and look forward to not only the hotel development, but to the future development on the west side of the property.
I've watched this piece of property for a long time, and I think the vision that you've brought exceeds every expectation I had. I think it's a great idea. I'm in full support of the project.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great amenity for the western end of the downtown area, and it looks like it meets or exceeds all the criteria, and if the two conditions are met, I'll be in support of it.
I agree. I think there's been a need for a downtown hotel space, and I think you have found the right space for that, finally, and I support it.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, I think the quality and the type of hotel being proposed is spot on. It's going to be a great amenity for the town, and I think it's a great location for it, so I'll be in support.
I would concur with my fellow commissioners. I'm very familiar with the Preferred Hotel Group, and that's quite a coup for the town. And so I will certainly be in support of it as well. Do we have a motion?
I move that the Planning Commission recommend the Town Council approve the use by special review, subject to the two conditions contained in staff's report.
Second.
It's been moved by John, seconded by Eric, that the Planning Commission recommend the Town Council approve the use by special review, subject to the two conditions that contained in staff's report. Signify by yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is there staff items? Bryce?
No, sir, there are not.
All right, then we will adjourn at 7:54.